Hayward? Who would have thought Hayward has a gay prom?
I know it's going to be a really fun night. You know, it's just going to be a safe space where people can come and dance and just be themselves and know that they're not going to get discriminated by other people.
If you think about how the gay prom got started, you really have to go back to the beginning of the Lambda Youth Group. And that was started by a counselor named Ken Athey, who was working for Project Eden at that time, doing group counseling with young people. Ken was a gay man and had the courage to step out and organize a group specifically for gay and lesbian youth.
I didn't know what the risks were going to be of starting the prom. That was the issue. We just went in deciding we were going to have a dance for gay youth and provide a safe place for them to have that dance. It turned into a lot more than that.
I was 19, and I had just graduated that previous summer, and I actually lived in Fresno. And I moved up to San Jose to move in with my sister, just kind of get out of the small town, because in small towns you can't be gay.
Back in 1994, I was a queer youth going to the Lighthouse Community Center and going to Lambda Youth Group. And so I was an attendee at the first prom. I went into it thinking, why do we need this? This is cliche. This is like, you know, the Brat Pack movies and stuff. Do we really need proms to be proud of who we are and to be accepted in the world and to accept ourselves? But by going, I realized the answer is yes. Everyone should have access to silly proms.
The feeling that I got when I actually went to the gay prom, it was just a sense of pride and acceptance. It was exciting to like get dressed and just like help each other get dressed and like just trying to pick out what we were gonna wear. Are we gonna match? We're not gonna match, you know, be corny like that. It was just like your heart is beating and you're excited, and it's just like, finally, you know, I get to just, this is what I've always wanted to do.
So it seems to me that the gay prom is useful in kind of in comparison to a straight prom, in that the straight prom functions as an important kind of rite of passage, you know, sort of a ritualized event for kids who are kind of, you know, figuring out who they are, and part of who they are is the expression of their gender and sexual identity, and the prom functions as one of these, you know, kind of highly ritualized moments where you actually kind of accomplish this, you know, performance.
There was a lot of concern and worry and doubt going into the project of trying to make the first prom come about.
The gay kids were getting harassed in school, both by fellow students and teachers and staff of the schools.
Back in 1994, Clinton had just been elected, and gay youth was really a new term. The idea that kids would come out at all was so new that there weren't even words for it. So being involved right then when the words were happening and when assembly bills were being passed for the first time to protect gay kids, I'm really grateful that I was part of that process.
When you're growing up and you're gays and you're alone, sometimes you think you're the only gay person on this planet, especially if you have nobody to talk to or compare notes to.
Does it take courage to, you know, to go to gay prom? I think you do really need some type of courage to actually expose yourself and go to gay prom.
Why it wasn't held anywhere else I can't answer, but why it was held in Hayward is because there were enough people in key positions who cared enough about the kids and about inclusion and about democracy to allow the event to happen. I think the pivotal moment was the city council meeting when the city council had to decide whether to fund the project or not. And that included the presence of the police officers to keep it safe and allowing the prom to happen on city property. Historically, the police and the gay and lesbian community had been at odds. Even in Hayward, you know, there was a lot of thought that the gay bars in downtown Hayward were picked on unnecessarily and treated unfairly. But for the police department to be able to step up and be part of the gay prom and not only allow the gay and lesbian officers to support it, but to have uniformed officers, straight men in uniform, there supporting the prom, and to have the police chief say, I support the prom, I'm going to have my personnel there. I think that it sent the message to the gay community that we had changed, that we are here to support you, and that we are here to make sure that you're safe, just like every other member of this community.
I don't think we were at all hesitant about being supportive. When I say we, the council and I. But it brought out the most ugly, vile comments. And you know, there's always a hate element in any community. And all you have to do is strike a match, and they're like flies that gather around it. And they're awful.
I had prepared remarks because I was supposed to be one of the speakers, and as it turned out, I didn't use any of them. What I said to the council was, you've asked us, every time we come and we bring recommendations, one of you will ask, how do you know? How do you know that this is really an issue, or this is really where we put money? And I said, you can't ask me that tonight. I want to thank the people who've come in opposition because they have demonstrated exactly what you need to know and why you need to give money to this group. And they did.
Arriving at the prom, it had its joy and it also had its bitter moments.
There were signs, you know, saying that we were sinners, we're going to hell, we should repent now, that kind of stuff. I had never seen that before. I had only seen that on TV or the news. So seeing it in person, it was scary. It was uncomfortable.
That was painful because it just kind of killed that joy of wanting to get there, to be received with such negative words and such negative vibes. It was very painful.
Well, we're making a stand against evil. We're making a stand against the tragedy which is enveloping our nation. As our sign says, one of our signs says, homosexuality is not a genetic matter of physical DNA. People are not born homosexual. They're produced homosexual by the corruption of their family, by the collapse of the family unit. And so the homosexual movement is dedicated to not correcting that aspect of where people are fractured internally to become homosexual, but they're dedicated to multiplying that internal poison and spreading it to everyone else that they can, especially the children.
Disgusting idiot!
For many years we've been playing outside the front of the prom venue, playing to greet the kids and make the events feel like a celebration. One of the cool things about this event is the fact that when it first started and the protesters were outside, apparently when this happened, the neighbors in the area around Centennial Hall where it was first happening, they saw that what was happening. They saw the signs, they saw the protesters, and they got really upset.
And they saw that horrendous pack of religious, misguided folks. And they went home and they made their own signs and they came back and it's like, kids have fun, you know, and stuff. And so, and that was the beginning of the counter protest. And it was awesome because every time the protesters tried to shout some hateful, awful thing, the band would just chime in with this upbeat, wonderful song to escort the kids into the event.
Protesters, did you see them outside? Today? Yes. There are protesters? I actually didn't see them. The first year I went, there were so many that we had to be escorted in by bouncers. This was 2 years ago. It was pretty scary, actually.
It is kind of weird having a bunch of protesters at a prom, and it seems kind of ridiculous. But it's also nice because, along with all the protesters, I still get to see all the people who are there to support me against the protesters.
The fact that there were gay adults who were standing up for us and who were providing models of the gay adults that we could be and who were letting us have the prom that they didn't have it felt really safe.
For me, it was a great opportunity to be a role model to the kids who would be going to the prom. I struggled with my sexual orientation and identity, I think, a lot more than the kids that at least got to see the people supporting them at the prom who were police officers and teachers and city council members and business people and musicians and reporters. I mean, it was just a very different experience. And for me, I was really happy to be part of it.
I was thinking about taking a boy to my Hayward High prom, but I would have, I just wanted to make my mom happy. And so, that's when I decided I'll just take, a girl and I'll take a friend and, I'll feel comfortable. And yeah, that's like one of the main reasons, just to make my mom happy and like show her the photo, that I went with a girl, so.
I attended my prom in high school, but it was not the same. I went with my best friend to hide that, and my girlfriend went with her best friend to hide it. And I mean, even though we attended the prom together, it was like we didn't take pictures together. It was kind of like pictures as a group to just keep it hidden. It was very challenging. It was very hard and very sad to see the couples, taking their picture and being happy, and you couldn't do it. And when I attended this prom, I was open. I was with my partner. It was the most beautiful thing to stand there and take a picture of your prom with the actual person you wanted to go there with.
How would you say it? My mom was afraid that we would get bullied. Yeah. So we didn't go to our high school prom or senior prom.
Out in the outside world, the real world, everyone assumes you're straight. But when you're here, it's reversed. Everyone assumes you're gay.
I wanted a place where I was open to be who I was and dance with the people I wanted without getting insulted and yelled at for dancing with someone of the same sex and gender.
To go to the straight prom as a same-sex couple is like a political act rather than a social act, rather than about kind of flirting and romance and courtship and fun. It would more be like kind of steeling yourself up for a great act of courage.
When anybody goes to their prom with a date, they should just be having fun. They shouldn't be having to make a political statement to do it. And as long as there's a world where you're being radical and political by going to a prom, you should have a safe place to have your prom.
How wonderful it is to have a band of adults and within the LGBT community, the queer community, say, we love you and welcome, and there's many of us out there who are older, and we are so proud of you. I feel good about that, but it also hurts in terms of the kids who wanted to come, who texted me today that said, there's no way that my mom and my dad are going to let me out the house. Who I worry about, who get in trouble every day at school because they're not going to take any bullying, and they'll say, I'll beat you down if you call me a dyke, or I'll beat you down if you call me a fag.
The community would be different without gay prom. I think it was a big step to raise an awareness in the community that would not have happened.
Integrating the proms and not having it be separate would be, I guess, ideal, and it would be a dream for a lot of teenagers to be able to go to your own high school, your own colors, your own pride, your classmates, your friends that you've been through high school for years. Of course, it's a dream to any teenager that actually wants to attend the prom to be able to walk in there with pride with your partner. Unfortunately, that doesn't happen all the time and not everywhere. So that's why there's gay prom.
And it's still going on. So that says to me that the issue isn't resolved. If the issue were resolved, those young people would be able to go to their school dances with the partner of their choice, would be able to attend a prom and have all the fun and glitz and expense that prom requires.
I don't know if it's at a point of need anymore. I think it's a point of want now. I think that the youth want and like having that space.
I think that gay prom in Hayward is a perfect example of democracy in action in our country. It started as a small idea. There were a lot of obstacles, but people knew that the inclusion that it would bring about would be good for the community as a whole. And it was, because in the beginning it was a really big event. Now it's a non-event. And that's the biggest compliment, I think, to the event and to the people who put on the event and attend the event, because we are part of society. We are just like our neighbor.
Absolutely. It represents the democratic ideal to the hilt. It's what democracy is supposedly supposed to be about, and it's taking nice words and putting them into action. And some people don't like that, and they use democracy too and express their disapproval, and we'll see who comes out ahead in the long run. I hope that democracy, I hope that equality, I hope that freedom, I hope that love triumphs. Call me an old-fashioned fuddy-duddy. I think we have a chance.
Yay, queer youth!